in Spain's Premier Division. It was affirmed with the conclusion of a new contract till 2024 with top side Atletico Madrid. Kgatlana says she aims to be the best in the world and would like to help Atleti reach the UEFA Women's Champions League after the team just missed out on a berth this past season when they ended fourth. I recently chatted to her and the author of her autobiography.
It's been a pretty difficult time because of coronavirus, me moving from one country to another, but I think I'll compliment myself from finding my feet and staying consistent so that I can be able to get a new deal with Atletico Madrid. My first season in Spain, it was amazing. You know, I've traveled everywhere, I've been everywhere, but I think the style of play, the credit has to go to Ava because they played according to my strengths, and that's how I was able to showcase my talent. That's how I was able to be as consistent as I was, to be able to attract big clubs like Atletico. So I think the style of play in Ava gave me an advantage, you know, to be able to show my speed, my skill, and to show the experience that I have as a player.
Thembi, you are quite the globetrotter. You have now played professional football in Africa, in North America, in Asia, and now in Europe. Are you trying to get the whole globe?
To be honest, I don't think that's something that you plan, you know. I started playing football and I think opportunities just come. And for me, that's what I'm saying. One thing that puts me where I am in my career is the fact that I'm patient. I'm not rushing anything. If someone else gets to where they want to be or where I want to be, I mean, that's their journey. It's different. You know, I grew up with different challenges. I grew up with a different mentality. And that is why for me, patience is a virtue that's going to eventually get you to where you want to be. So I think throughout all these years, I've been patient. You know, a lot of people have been asking, why are you moving? Why are you not getting big deals? Why are you not doing this? You need patience. You need to be also realistic about your goals. Yes, I wanted to play in America, but I wanted to grow. I wanted to be uncomfortable. If you have to be at the top, if you're going to be always on the media, you need to be patient because then you're going to get people agitating you all the time. And traveling for me, I think that's where I got my patience, going to China, experiencing a different culture, going to the USA, going to Europe, and all the countries in Europe are different, having to now learn Spanish, you know, and at the earlier stage, I attempted to learn Portuguese. I mean, those kind of changes and shifts, you need those things, you need that patience, you know, to be able to say, okay, here I'm comfortable, okay, I don't like this, I need to move this. And in that way, you're able to find yourself to be able to get to the top. And once you get to the top, you know what worked for you and you know what didn't work for you. So it's easier for you to find a balance to be able to release what you want to do.
You've already given yourself a pat on the back for moving to a brand new country during the coronavirus and making such a success at IBAR that you caught the eye of Atletico Madrid. When did you have time for a book project?
Oh, my word. I think the book project for me, I don't want to say it was a coincidence. I don't want to say that. I've always wanted to have a book, but I didn't know where to start or I didn't know who to approach. And I think at one point I was just browsing through my Instagram and I saw Nicholas and I was like, isn't this the guy who wrote Teko's book? And if you know me, I'm a very ambitious person. You know, if I want something, I go for it. And I make sure that even if it takes a year or if it takes 2 years, whatever the cost, I'm going to go there. And like I said, I was emphasizing patience and I'm very patient about it. So I reached out to Nick and luckily he told me he was my friend. So I knew it would be easier to work with him, you know. And I think everything else was just natural. We had a good bond. He understood football. He understood my story. And it was good for him to write. I think it was appropriate for him to write my book because he's a South African guy. He's worked with Teko and now he's working with me. So I think it was only fitting for him to be the author of my book.
Nick joins us now. He put together and penned Thembi's story in the latest book. Nick, can you recount what happened and how it was for you? Was it an Instagram message? How did Thembi reach out to you, and what were your initial feelings?
Yeah, it was very exciting. It was actually in the middle of our very hard lockdown last year. And, things were looking very bleak. There wasn't much good news on the horizon. And one day I woke up and there's a message in my DM from someone who has a blue tick next to their name. And I was like, wow. And then I looked at Thembi and I'm like, no, of course I know Thembi. And, she reached out to me and she said she was keen to talk about a book process. She didn't necessarily say that she wanted me to write it. So I thought she just wanted some advice, and we got to talking, and I was very excited when she said that she'd like me to write it. For me, it was a really easy decision because, I remember Teko said to me after the last book, he put a lot of pressure on me. Teko said to me, Nick, whatever you do now, you cannot write about anyone less than me. He said, you cannot go for any average player. You cannot, he said, you have to only build from me. And I thought, wow, that's a really unfair thing, Teko, because you one of the greatest modern footballers of all time. So, how am I supposed to top that? And then Thembi reached out, and I was like, this is the greatest woman footballer on the African continent. It is the easiest decision to make. And not only that, she actually is, at the moment, in my opinion, the greatest footballer out of men or women's football. We don't have a footballer more consistent than Thembi. We don't have a striker that scores as much as Thembi. We don't have a player that plays for a club as big as the one that Thembi's just signed for. The biggest club that a male player plays for is Brighton Hove Albion. But Thembi's about to be the star of this incredible club that has this incredible rich history, Atletico Madrid. So for me, Thembi was at that legendary status already, and it was just so easy and so exciting to be involved in this project.
Having to grow up in a family of 5, my 2 brothers, my mom and my dad, in a small house that is a 2-bedroom, having to share 1 bedroom with my 2 other siblings because I was the youngest, to sleep on the floor and to just carry myself each and every day, to sneak out on the windows to go play football because my parents didn't want me to play football. And I understand their frustrations because I was a girl, and I'm still a girl. I was young, and they were worried about my safety. I was the only girl playing with boys out of the outskirts of Mohlakeng. So I really understand their frustrations, and I still understand that there's a lot of parents that don't want their girls to play soccer. But my story is out there to show them that if they support their children, whether a girl or boy, it really doesn't matter. It's going to be very important when they start, growing up and having to make choices of their own. And for me, that was easier because once I learned how to survive by myself at a young age, leaving home at 16 years to go to the High Performance Center, getting a scholarship. Since then, I've never been home. I only visit. And a lot of people ask my mom, don't you miss her? And, all those kind of questions. And my mom says, she's been gone since 16. I've learned to live without her. I've let her go. I've let her make her own choices to be the person that she is today. And at the start, it was difficult. But once I got the support of my parents, I think it was easier for me to pursue my dreams.
Yeah. Nicholas, how much do we as a country and a world going through this global pandemic at the moment need a story like this?
I think we need it really badly, particularly, in our country, we're facing 2 pandemics. One, there's a vaccine for, the other there isn't. And the one that there isn't one for is gender-based violence. And, this is a country that has a very mixed record with how it treats its women citizens. And I think these stories are very important for that reason. We need to celebrate our heroines more. We need to raise the women in our society to this icon status. We need both young boys and young girls to look up to women, see them as heroes, see them as the protectors, guarders, and nurturers of our society. And stories like this help do that. And I think, there's a lot of lessons in the book, but one of the big lessons is how we raise our women in society, how we talk to them, because Thembi grew up the whole time being told what she's not allowed to do. She'd been told she's not allowed to play football. Even when she was very young, she wanted to like play cars with the boys, play with like model cars, but the teachers would keep like wrapping a baby thing around her with the doll, like trying to prescribe to her what she should be. And luckily, because of Thembi's strength of character, she managed to fight off all that. And she managed to say, no, she has a dream and to actually go for it. So I think these stories are so important. The country is in a dark place when it comes to our level of gender-based violence at the moment. And the solutions are never easy. We don't know exactly how to fix this problem. A lot of these issues happen behind closed doors. But my belief is that it happens through many little small steps. And we mustn't underestimate the power of the stories we tell and the narratives that get spread around. And if we can start celebrating our women as heroes, as champions, as icons, and not just as mothers and these classic roles that have been assigned to them, then I think we'll be in a much better place. I think we need to create an environment where respect for women is the order of the day. They need to be the champions of our society. And by spreading stories like this, I believe, hopefully, is one small step to achieving that.